Hi, this is Butch Patrick, and you're listening to WithoutYourHead.com.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I am Nasty Neil.
And this is Annabelle Lecter.
Yes, and we're joined by a special guest here for Scanners Week. We have Stephen Lack on the line. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I'm using my own name.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very
Annabelle.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of, when we were at Scanners the other day in the theater, we noticed that you were not mentioned straight off the bat in the credits, which seemed very odd. No, he wasn't, was he, Neil?
No, but the opening credits did not include your name. Now, perhaps they had a bad cut of the film that actually cut him out of the credits.
That's new to me. I mean, I could sue the bastard for that.
You should. I'm glad I told you. Now you can take that to the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought maybe there was some kind of funny story, like you didn't want to be known, or... Oh, man.
No, I mean, I have... there was a problem with the original credits in that they spelt my name wrong with a V instead of a PH.
Uh-huh.
And they were... anyway, I'm not going to get into it. That's insider stuff.
No problem.
But they compensated me for that mistake rather than pulling all the prints and correcting it, as was my right to insist. But
they may have corrected it without your knowledge.
Well, they might have done that, but I saw it in the theaters. My credit is normally there. So what did you see? Did you see a digital projection?
No, it's an old 35
then they're very proud of that. It's an older theater, and this program, it's every weekend at the Coolidge after midnight, right inside of Boston. And they are all about original prints. They'll play things with scratches and bumps and blips.
And so they played it right from the beginning, and I had no lead credit?
Yeah. It was noticeable, because Neil and I were watching. We were actually concerned we might have had the wrong person coming on the show, because we didn't see your name and thought, what's going on?
You're probably just trying to agitate me, but that's okay.
No, it really was. They did not have it was very odd.
I did not think that would go somewhere in this conversation.
Well, anyway, not to worry about it, because chances are the print could have been screwed up, they had to splice it together, and that was what was missing, some of the leaders going in. I don't know.
Yeah, he said that before. Actually, a big thing among people, apparently, who project the films is they will take one little frame and keep them for their...
That's correct.
Yeah, keep them...
True.
And because they said that's really
sure
almost like Psycho.
My credit is more than one frame.
That's very true.
You'd think so.
One would think.
You know what? Maybe we could turn this into something that gets attention for Scanners. It's something people are going to look out for now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does he have his credit?
Yeah.
Well, I know David gave me a good credit for Dead Ringers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unless there's payback time, and he's just taking all the credits off.
Jeez, we're going to have to search this out. We'll be going to a lot of these midnight movies.
Well, we all have powers, so you just watch out, see what happens in Toronto.
I'm gonna be paying attention.
Mm-hmm. No, first, besides credits, how did you get involved in Scanners to begin with? Because you do come from an art background.
Well, I come from an art background, but I've made a bunch of films before Scanners, and David was Stephen Lack aware, shall we say.
That's interesting.
And some of the films were quite critically well received. And, David has a track of working with people that have that are quirky and have good critical backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's really interesting you're saying that, because I'm looking through all of your stuff, and that you'd written Montreal, Maine, and the description of that is it's attention grabbing. Yes.
Uh-huh.
So
and Rubber
can you
Gun
tell
is even more so.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious. So can you tell us a little bit about those projects?
Well, Montreal, Maine was pretty radical for its time. Now it's pretty normal. Mm-hmm. It was about two guys that were. It was your standard first script for the time period. Not my first script, but the people that made the movie. They had done a love story: boy meets girl meets cute, right? Mm-hmm. Now everybody knows what meeting cute is, and it takes up, in a terrible movie, it'll take up half of the movie. So it was about 1/3 of the original script, and I changed it, and I said, you guys are going through much different changes than that. And lo and behold, they handed me the script and said, what are you doing today? Well, it was in the 70s where we were all so wealthy. We're all still very wealthy. I mean, I know we've had the new economy since 2008, but, that which hits the fan has not yet hit the fan. It's only turned the fan off for a minute or two and made us sweat in the room. But we haven't started to get splashed. So, in other words, life is still going on, representing itself as it was.
Yeah.
But I think we all, especially you guys in the horror genre, understand speculative futures, and at that point, you have to look backwards and say, well, what was the past? And the past at that time in the 70s was amazing. I mean, 2-3 people could get together and say, I want to go to California, and the other would say, well, we don't have any money, and one would say, well, I've got a job, and I'm making $130 a week, and if I work for 3 weeks, I can save up $400 if you do a couple of things to make some money. And with $400, you could buy a car, you could buy the gasoline, you would have the food to make it 3/4 of the way to California, at which point you got out of the car and you hustled, you spared change, you did what you had to do to get the rest of the money to get there. And because 50% of the population was under the age of 26, everybody looked good. That meant 25% of the population was like on the road, having read the book. And it was very exciting times and nothing but possibilities. So during that time period, I didn't really, I thought I was really amazing by selling, 5 or 6 paintings a year. No one else that was working in the arts was actually making money at it. But there was money around. So it was exciting. And so these guys, these filmmakers would say, what are you doing today? Well, what was I doing? I was going to make another painting. What do you need? And they say, well, you gave this suggestion and we've worked it into a script and now we'd like to fine-tune it. And we have some video equipment we borrowed from a university. Let's bang out the stuff. So we did. So we had a 3-4 week video shoot. Then they took that, edited it, and got like $10,000, which was the money to make the whole feature film. And then within 8 months, that was submitted to the Whitney Museum because we were on the art circuit, and they accepted it in their new director series. And then the Village Voice was reviewing me and all that stuff.
Because it sounds pretty wild, just at the brief glance that I have had at this. Some of these things are harder to find than others. But
a rubber gun you can't find.
Yeah. So the Montreal Maine description is a photographer finds himself falling for a 14-year-old boy. That's what caught my attention.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the interpretations of it.
Yeah.
He doesn't really fall for the boy. He's like in a situation where he doesn't have anyone to really talk to, and he's out of place. So he's running through this party where everybody is being phony.
Yeah.
And he goes upstairs into a room where there's this kid who's reading a Playboy magazine in a clandestine situation. He's not exposing himself or interfering with himself or anything, right? So he talks with the kid for like 5 minutes. They're comfortable. He's a photographer. He takes some shots. He goes home. He looks at the shots. They're mysterious and androgynous. And he says, let me take the kid out for a couple of photo shoots. Everybody else in the art community goes, wow, what's he doing with that kid?
Yeah.
You see? So it's basically a good Canadian discussion movie. Well, now Canada makes all kinds of movies, but in those days, there was more talk than action in your standard Canadian product.
Yeah.
Until David came along, and there we are. So the film is terrific. It really is sensitive. It does show aspects of maturation because we all hate to give up part of the child in us.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that was just helping me with my doors. I said, because my wife and I couldn't figure out how old he was. And it never occurred to me that he was over 50.
Yeah.
But because he's really boyish and perky and bubbly and all of that stuff, plus he's doing physical work. So he told me, yeah, he's 53. He said, yeah, he went to a high school reunion. He couldn't believe how many old people were there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they all looked at him and they said, you haven't grown up. But, good advice to anybody is if you want to see the face of God, look in the face of a child. And when you wake up in the morning and you're feeling that inner child in you, don't let the day take it away, but ride that kid. Keep that attitude. Keep the possibilities open.
I agree with that. That really works for me and Neil very well.
Yes, we are very childlike.
Yeah, acting like children happens a lot in this friendship.
You said David was aware of you. Did he seek you out to be in Scanners, or was it when you came in to read for the part or whatever that he had already known about you?
Oh no, I've never successfully read for anything.
Okay.
I don't really understand what other people are talking about half of the time. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a monologuist, so I railroad things and I'll relate to the people I'm talking to, so it sounds like a conversation. Mm-hmm. But I can't really toss the ball back. A, I can barely hear what people are saying, and B, parsing their sentences is like an impossibility because I got that internal chatter. So I have a feeling David knew that from A, the films, and B, meeting me a couple of times. But that was it. No, I've never solicited work in film.
Mm-hmm.
But that's interesting. So he must have seen something excellent in you, because otherwise he wouldn't. Why work with someone that has those traits?
Exactly. He thought I was, he found out I was more creature than actor.
Well, you sound very unique. At least, you were brave enough you wrote that film, and now I'm really curious about that second film that you mentioned.
Uh-huh. Well, the second one, I keep on looking for people to help me put it out. I've got all the material. Mm-hmm. I think I do. I'm not very linear, but I've got all these cans that I've been running around with. I don't know what kind of temperature changes they've been subjected to. My partner is in those films doesn't want to think about them, mm-hmm. and I'm semi-ambivalent because but a lot of the people that were in the film have passed, mm-hmm. and they're amazing people. And the territory that we covered was also amazing and risque of a type, again, in the 70s. As the 70s turned into the late 70s, because one thing about the rubber gun and Montreal Maine thing is there's a kind of shabbiness mm-hmm. That the 60s brought with it. I mean, which was cool because the finer things, the more posed-out things weren't that important. They weren't like a priority. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of great that way, and the mindset of the people. I mean, maybe it'll become full circle, and people will come back and say, "Oh, that was the way to live," and grab those films as mantras. But who knows? From monster to mantra.
It's a nice progression, man, monster, mantra. Mm-hmm. It's the way to go.
Cool. Now, I was reading earlier. It said that Cronenberg was writing the script for Scanners as he was filming the movie. So
yeah,
like how much of the script did you see beforehand when you began to film it?
Well, it doesn't matter. My reading comprehension is nil anyway, so I still had to be told on the day what the hell it meant. And
so it sounds perfect for you.
Yeah, it was flawless. And McGowan also wondered what it was. Mm-hmm. And I remember we were doing some readings together in the Winnebago, and he goes like, I don't know what this means. What is David talking about? And I said, Patrick, it doesn't matter. You're riveting no matter what you're saying, but I don't know what it means. I said, yeah, fuck, you talk, if you were drowning, you would still be saying it in the Shakespearean pentameter. So, you know,
true.
he was terrific.
I love that guy.
Yeah,
Someone
he
turned
was
me on
great.
to The Prisoner several years ago, and I've loved him ever since.
Well, I liked him as Danger Man.
Yeah. I haven't seen as many of those, but that's...
Oh yeah, no, I
Good
saw
stuff.
those before The Prisoner and all of that. Because being a Canadian, you know, we got that British product on our TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was Danger Man, and then they changed it to Secret Agent Man or something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he was good.
Yeah. Well, I guess there was no problem for you, but you mentioned McGowan, and what was it like for the other actors around you to get like the script in pieces as you would be filming the film?
You know, I don't know. I don't know because I was in almost every scene,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time I was being defined, and because I was in every scene, and it hadn't been written completely, there wasn't an arc for my character to go from point A to point Z.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like code named it. What am I doing here, David? Because I ask questions wherever I go.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said like, so what am I doing today? Am I Alice in Wonderlanding it again? You know, oh, you're a caterpillar. Why can you talk if you're a caterpillar? Oh, and you're smoking. Why are you smoking? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than if it was really my character, it would be like, you're smoking good stuff. Give me that pipe, you fucking caterpillar. No, I'm not like that at all.
So did he
So you
do
guys
this in a
talked with-
linear... What's that?
You guys talked to Butch Patrick. How was he?
No, that's very true. That was, I'm going to be perfectly honest, at the time, that was probably our worst interview.
Really?
Yeah, and I was really looking forward to it. Grew up loving the Munsters, and since then I've seen him, and he's a very nice guy, but perhaps it was the mood he was in. We called them up, and right away he's like, he only wanted to be on like 8 minutes, and everything we'd ask him was just like, yes, no, and it really made for not a very good interview. It was very
Has he
disappointing.
Because I
has
wasn't
he
there at the time.
That's right.
Oh, see?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Probably very girl-friendly.
Yeah. It was in the old
Has he done
days.
any work since the Munsters? I mean, of note?
I don't think so. He was on basically just wanted to come on to plug the book, but like I seen him at
Oh, he had a
conventions.
book.
Yeah, he had a book out
He
there.
had product.
But
And did sales grow from the interview?
if I was listening and I heard the interview, I probably would not purchase something from him.
This book's probably not going to be all that interesting.
But in all
yes,
honesty,
knowing
yes,
it's not a good sale.
No, it wasn't. It was very disappointing. But in all honesty, since I met him since, and he's much different, so I'm just going to say he was in a bad mood at the time.
We're going to have to interview him again.
Yeah.
We'll give him another
Yeah,
chance.
bring him back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it must be awful being a child star. It's awful
Yeah.
enough being an adult star.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted my son to be in Little Man Tate,
Oh.
and we refused.
Mm-hmm.
And we yelled at them for even casting him. You know, they went into his schoolroom and,
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
you know, and, so they chose another kid from his class.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go.
Wow.
No, was it your personal experience with movies? Why you didn't want him involved in films, or?
Well, I didn't want him at the age of 9 to think
see.
the greatest thing that ever happened to him happened when he was 9.
Right.
Yeah.
You know. So I figured wait till after he's had oral, and then you can talk to him.
Well, nowadays that might be 9, but yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear the directors isn't that fond of that side of the chromosome pool, so there you go.
So,
Don't get me started.
You feel
go
free.
into
This is a
outlaw
very
territory.
open-minded show.
yes, it is.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Trust me, I could bump against the edge of that vial. So talk to me. What else? What do you want to know? I'm
Yeah,
getting
well,
older as we speak.
I would like to know what does the ending of the film, in your mind, mean?
Well, I always wanted to do a sequel. I never saw any of the other sequels. That was David, off the title to get some cake for another project.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Kevin Pollak, and you're listening to WithoutYourHead.com. But I guess you knew that, didn't you? Unless, of course, you lost your head.
House phones are just I don't do it.
What, landlines? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I love my landline.
Yeah, but that's where you get all those calls from. I'm assuming.
correct.
I've never had any garbage calls on my cell phone.
Listen, I still use a sewer, even though there's Chud.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Chud is a great film.
I don't know. I love the trailer, though. I never saw the film.
It's not a personal favorite of mine.
But the concept is great.
It is.
It's good. It's good. I personally am it is one of my favorites. I like those movies.
When's the last time you saw it?
Well, there are some of those movies are better left just like I remember this fondly as a child, and we'll leave it there.
Don't ever watch it. Don't do it.
So what are the good movies to see? I mean, I hardly ever go to films anymore, and I certainly not much in the horror vein, although I did see that Jim Jarmusch movie that was great, the vampire one of recent.
Oh, is that the we were going to go see that, but
Oh, is that the one that shoot, what's her name?
Tilda Swinton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I really want to see that.
Yeah,
much.
she's great. She can do no wrong.
She's wonderful.
And I mean, it's an allegory for a heroin habit, but
Yes.
there you go.
But it looks wonderful. So I don't think that was playing around us.
no, it's actually playing the end of this month here, I believe it.
Is it?
Now, where is here? Where are you at
Boston.
508?
We are Boston.
You're in Boston.
Yeah.
What a great town.
Yeah. I like it.
It's lovely, yeah.
Neil seems to like it. He's a little south.
Yeah,
but
I'm on
we
the-
meet up to do the show in Boston.
Yeah. I'm on the Cape Cod.
You're on Cape Cod,
Yeah.
like Wellfleet and all of that stuff?
Yeah, a very small town called Sandwich.
Sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've driven by Sandwich.
Okay.
It used to be a punchline way back in the 50s on the radio shows, the Earl of Sandwich and all of that
Yes, that
stuff.
is what we are named after, the Earl of Sandwich.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then what was the other thing? Shrewsbury, because it was supposed to be Shrewsbury that invented the sandwich, but they didn't want to call it a Shrewsbury. That was the DJ's rap.
Okay.
Some nonsense like that. I'm trying to think of who the DJ was. It might have been somebody like Dick Biondi, but it might have been, who was the Boston guy? Goose Ginsburg or something?
Oh,
that name sounds very familiar.
Ginsburg. Anyway, check your history books.
Yeah. Wellfleet, though, that's the last place, I believe, on the Cape that still has a drive-in.
That still has what?
A drive-in theater. The
Oh.
Wellfleet Drive-In.
Yeah, now that's a good place for a serial killer.
That's why I like it here.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was my son and his friends in the trunk. Yeah. Thump. Yeah. Oh, dear. These Mercedes, they're just airtight.
But before we were interrupted by an Indian caller, you were talking about a possible, your idea for a sequel of Scandals.
Well, it's too late now for me to do it, so like so many things, I'd just give it away. But I thought, if I entered Ironside's body, why couldn't Ironsides be starring in the sequel?
Right.
And then this was before computers, but still I knew it could be done, and I would slowly take over his body physically.
Yes.
And so that transition would happen, and then he would be fighting inside my mind. So that would be great to have the conflict of the two of us occupying the same body.
Yeah.
And, very Dr. Jekyll last scene when he's morphing back and forth to hide.
I like this idea.
I do too.
But, it's a one-liner. You'd have to write the whole script, and I'm so busy. Oh,
What are you
now
busy
that's-
doing? What are you up to? What's going on
Well, you
in your
know,
life?
I
and stuff
gotta
like that?
say, I'm just a cheap date. I love to paint, and I paint, and I have been reinforced for it way before the films. As a matter of fact, everything that I use in the films I was castigated for as a child, i.e., don't talk, shut up, and but the paintings, everybody seemed to like the paintings. Of course, I do paintings that people might not like. I'm considered a tough artist, but I've had lots of success with it, and I can do it on my own terms. In other words, I can do it alone.
Yeah.
It's very difficult, the film acting. You're handed a script that somebody else wrote for God knows what reasons. Everybody's got their agendas. And you've got to speak their words, and if you're successful, you're going to be responsible for those words for the rest of your life. People are going to think you are those words.
Yeah.
It's a very overwhelming business. So wherever you go, people, you know, think they know you, which is fine with me, let them. But I can't remember the people I do know, let alone, you know, all the people that might think they know me. So it's very difficult to go out. And it's also like being very rich. Then you're only talking to other very rich people. Or if you're famous, you're only talking to other famous people. And it's like there's this invisible guard-all shield between you and the rest of the world. And everything that happens to you is, oh my goodness, and then I had to, and I had no cash on me. But she knew who I was. So I said, she said, just take it. If you just, can I take a picture with you? Oh, just take it. You know what I mean? And, I mean, that's all nice, but these people stop using their hands after a while.
Yeah.
And it's horrifying.
Yeah. Just removed from what it is to be a regular person.
I mean, there is no reality, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's not like, I think there's something that's more real.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, that's a neighborhood I find it difficult to maintain.
And let everybody know, though, actually, you can see some of your art on your website, StephenLackArt.com. We'll have the link on the website.
Yeah.
That's PH, not V.
Yes.
Oh, that's PH. Yep. And I have a lot of fun painting. I mean, I think I got spoiled. I did Scanners, and then I moved to New York because my loft burnt down where I had been making art previously. And within like a year, I had bought a couple of paintings from a new friend called Jean-Michel Basquiat, if you know who that is. I have a feeling, being in the horror genre, you've actually missed that boat. But anyway, I settled into the East Village kind of right away and was in a gallery called the Gracie Mansion Gallery. And within like a few months of committing to a show, there was a lineup to the show around the block. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever expect your art to succeed to this level?
No, I didn't. I mean, maybe I did. Maybe I thought I was going to be like the Salvador Dali of the future. But as I landed in New York and I saw that there was hundreds of others like me, I thought, oh, well, you know, this is it. So now it's an art world. So I became part of that and still managed to stand out. And commercially, well, I mean, if I sell a piece for $3,000 or $8,000, I have peers that have sold similar pieces for $3 to $5 million. So, but I'm happy with the being in the zone that I'm in because I don't know what it would be like to go and face the canvas thinking that this is going to be a $300,000 painting. Although I suppose I could get used to that. But in the zone that I'm in now, then it's up to the people who get the work to monetize it. But in the meantime, once again, I'm trying to fly under the radar.
Yeah.
Now, you also do sculpting. I'm just wondering what the difference for you between sculpting and painting, and which one do you prefer?
Well, sculpting is just sexier, you know. You just get your hands right in it, and I like to feel certain surfaces. Painting is an illusion. I suppose if I impose that illusionistic aspect on the sculpture, I would work much faster. Mm-hmm. The car sculptures that I make are frequently they're very subtle. So from a million different angles, they'll still be alive. It's not like going out and buying one of those die-cast metal versions of some kind of a good car. This is what the designer who had to compromise really would have intended if he had no compromises, no considerations other than the true feeling of speed, shape, sensuality, etc. You know?
I'm looking at them right now, and it's stephenlackart.com/sculpture.htm, and they're beautiful. They are really lovely. It's
Hey, thank you.
They're excellent. I mean, I don't know how much my opinion matters, but but I really like them. I'm artsy myself, and also agree with you on sculpture. I like doing the. I've just started working with oil pastels and things like that, but it is very different to be able to feel what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ralph Lauren likes them, and he loves cars. Mm-hmm. I'll plug something.
Yeah.
I believe, although I haven't communicated. Ooh, what was that?
That is actually that is the noise that your site makes when you go to it. So.
Oh, right, that's a sound effect from the site.
Yes,
exactly.
Uh-huh.
I guess Neil just opened the page.
I just did that for effect, so people understood. Yeah.
Cool. No, I thought you had a sinus problem there for a minute. But plugging something. Well, October 10th, I believe, is an opening event at the Fort Wayne, Indiana Museum of Art, where I'll be having a show of automobile-related paintings. Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean there'll be paintings of cars. There might be paintings of people being murdered in the back of cars. But it will be car-related.
Mm-hmm. Now, I noticed you did some paintings of professional wrestling, and I'm a lifetime wrestling fan. Now, are you a wrestling fan, or how did it come about that you decided to paint?
I love wrestling. Mm-hmm. I thought the rhetoric in the 80s was amazing.
Yes.
When Hulk Hogan came on and George the Animal Steele, and but I come from even earlier days with people like Wahoo McDaniels and Gorgeous George, and they were outrageous personalities. I mean, you just didn't have personalities like that. Mm-hmm. It was like Liberace on steroids.
Yes.
Right? Can you imagine? Gorgeous George.
Yeah, that's the first TV star for modern wrestling was Gorgeous George.
Well, there you go. So these guys were extreme, and I love extreme. And then in the 80s, the rhetoric, the political rhetoric, had the bullying aspect of the wrestling rhetoric. Mm-hmm. So I did a little art campaign of a wrestler for president. No one really, took it and ran, thank God, because I try and keep out of actually making any political commitments. I'm just really watching the species rather than the subdivisions, Republican and Democrat, my goodness. And there we go, a wrestler for president. So I did a couple of posters with that.
Mm-hmm. Would you vote for Jesse Ventura?
Well, I kind of like Jesse.
I do too.
I think I probably would have. I don't think I've ever voted. Mm-hmm. Not that doesn't mean I'm against being ruled. But it just worked out that way. I've never been in the place where I was supposed to be to vote. Mm-hmm. So it's been that way for every election.
Mm-hmm. I do want to ask you about the special effects, because especially the ending scene with it's pretty intense and use of fire and everything. What was it like to film that?
Oh, well, we filmed it twice. I guess you knew that. Have you seen the DVD, the Blu-ray?
No, I have not actually. I saw it.
Well,
We
it's
do
coming out
actually
this
try.
week.
We do actually prefer to see it on the big screen when possible. But yeah,
Well, yeah,
I
but
know
the
the
Blu-ray
Criterion
has all the
edition's coming
interviews
out.
with it.
Right,
It's even got Gary Zeller, who just passed away
Yeah,
last
it's very
month.
sad to hear about that.
Yeah, that was a shock. I still don't know but that's not important. He's gone, and he was great.
Yeah, from what I understand, you were friends with him and his wife Joyce.
That's correct. Yes. They visited us, I guess, last year here in the upstate zone. And then we'd see each other in New York City. So they've been to all my studios. And our kids grew up together.
Mm-hmm.
Although we tried to make it so they'd never grow up. But they turn on you.
Well, hopefully not too much.
So you wanted to know about the last scene. See, I do answer questions, and I do pay attention ever so slightly.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
The last scene. There was a 2-month break, and they weren't happy with the results of the last scene. So they refilmed it with Dick Smith doing the bladders and the changes and all of that. And, of course, he was great to work with. Mm-hmm. He was a little uptight, but if I was doing what he was doing and had to perform and have my products perform under that scrutiny with, 20 people waiting on salary, I would be a little nervous. So, and he's hypoglycemic, so, you had to get him a sugar cube. But other than that, things went swimmingly, Mm-hmm. And his prosthetics, he was not aware of my contract, which said nothing goes in my eyes. Mm-hmm. And, of course, they had to make a live casting of my face with my eyes open, so they froze my eyes and stuck cups over my eyeballs. And typical to me, I forgot about that, that I had it in my contract, nothing was to happen to my eyes. And so good trooper that I was, I did it. And they said, or Dick said, well, your eyes will feel a little tired afterwards. Well, you and I would normally think when your eyes are tired, it's like you've done a bit too much reading. Mm-hmm. But actually, after the cups and the freezing came out, tired was more like a Prosty's pussy than tired from reading. Uh-huh. It was like raw meat sagging in the thawing process. I wasn't quite tired like, I don't think I can finish reading you Winnie the Pooh tonight, child. Mm-hmm. No. Anyway.
So did it feel good to you? That's what I want to know. Was it a nice feeling? Your eyeball tiredness.
No, it felt horrifying. It took weeks to get over. Oh, it was awful.
Like nightmarish? You still have dreams to this day?
No, I didn't have dreams. I just had discomfort.
Was there a particular reason why you had it in your contract? Nothing goes in your eyes? Is that something?
Yeah, because I was aware of The Exorcist.
Okay.
And I didn't want, it says here your head explodes. Fine, my head explodes, but I keep to keep mine. Mm-hmm. And I had just been on a film where the stunts were inadequately prepared. Mm-hmm. And they're very cavalier about it, especially with the Canadian actors versus an international actor where they'll kiss your ass sideways from a helicopter. But that's okay. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought. Oh, yes, that other film. The stunts were badly prepared, and I had to drive through a polished plexiglass mirror to tell you the difference between computer-generated imagery and not. They wanted to have a reflection of my face in a shattered piece of glass going across the screen. And to do that, I had to drive a Mercedes through a polished piece of plastic mylar, which these idiots, instead of putting it on a breakaway thing, put it on something that was super supported with triangulated 2x4s. and I'm driving through it at like 30 miles an hour, and they've got a high-speed camera zoned in on where my face will be reflected in this thing, and which would have, could have been computer generated 20 years later, with much less expense, and the 2x4s went into the windshield and smashed it.
Wow.
And the whole dashboard was covered with powdered glass.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty intense. I don't think I'd enjoy that myself.
No. So, I was very grateful to get out of that without any residual problems with my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And put it in this contract that nothing was to happen with my eyes or your ass is grass, motherfucker. So, but, I forgot.
Yeah. I had LASIK surgery about 5 or 6 years ago, and if my eyesight wasn't so bad, it's not something I would have liked to gone through. Just having things stuck in your eye is not a good time.
And how was it, the LASIK?
Before that I had 20/60 vision without my glasses, and I was legally blind in one eye. And since then I have 20/15 vision, which actually is better than 20/20 without any glasses. So huge success. But the actual process is very weird to go through, because you actually they tell you not to move your eye while they're doing it. They can't like put you to sleep or anything, but you see the scalpel come and go right around your eye, and then it just kind of bloodshot as your eye kind of flaps down. And you can't see.
Oy.
And they do it's very quick with the laser, but they do it to both eyes, and then you basically got to keep your eyes shut for a while. And I had like protective things taped to my face for like I couldn't even get water in them when taking a shower or anything, because if it got in there, supposedly like the flaps could fall away, because they can't sew them or anything, the flaps in your eyes, but they naturally seal themselves back up over time. So it's it's kind of traumatizing, all that stuff, but I'm definitely glad that I had it done.
Oh, good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a totally different world once, because I couldn't see since I was a small child, like barely at all, and then to be able to see very well without any glasses or anything is like a new world. It's very different.
Yeah. I mean, I wear glasses all the time now, but I probably don't have to. I'm just getting lazy.
Yeah.
It happens.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask about Michael Ironside too. He's always a very intense actor. What's he like? Is he like that in real life? And what was he like to work with?
I think he's pretty intense. Actually, I haven't seen him since we did Scanners.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know him very well before, even though we're both Canadians. So I don't really know what he's about or anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yes, he is intense. He projects intensity.
Nope. What was when the movie comes out, it's a big success right away. How did that change your life at the time?
Well, it gave me a reason not to have to do any films anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did. Mm-hmm. I did Dead Ringers for David, and somebody got me in another film later on. But to me, good. That was done. Did that, tasted it. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I am an old hippie.
Well, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Forrest Gump makes a movie.
Uh-huh.
Gosh, I was with all them movie stars. We had a good time.
Uh-huh.
Oh, they sure can drink.
So what other stuff? You sound like a person that's very curious about life and wants to, it's important to you to stay working with your hands. And what other kinds of stuff have you done in life? You sound like you have had a lot of interesting experiences.
Well, that might be. Yeah. Every now and then I go into a memoir stage and I write about some of it, but I haven't put any of it out yet. And, interesting things. It's all fascinating. After the films, I got married and had kids. So, it's like the last temptation of Christ. you're up on the cross and they give you the choice. Well, you could stay on the cross and be very popular, but there's this girl down in the valley, and she's swollen like a grapefruit. So, I did that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my partners said, "Oh, you're like every other failed artist. You just gonna contribute to the biomass instead of making an artistic whatever."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "I don't think you're really paying attention to the artistics whatever or the biomass. It's all quite transitive and transient.
Mm-hmm.
So relax, everybody." And there you go. I mean, sometimes I think, I am so lazy and easily distracted. If I only concentrated, I would have made another film. I mean, that I would have directed.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't feel right. I mean, I come up with film ideas occasionally, and I send them off to people, and they all tell me, "Oh, no, they couldn't do that." And then they do something like that, which is fine. So that's it. I just try and bring a little light into the darkness of mine and other lives. Like my children, I try and control them. And,
how old are these kids of yours?
36 and 31.
Oh.
My younger boy puts out some great music.
Oh,
I don't know if the Monster crowd will like it, but
we draw a lot of different kinds of people. We have a friend that works at a nuclear power plant. I mean, it's diverse.
Okay,
there's one guy that's he's a professor in England at U Manchester. We have a lot of different kinds of people here.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, he's played Boston a number of times.
Really?
I don't remember the venues, but the name of the group is Ravens and Chimes.
Huh.
And my son's name is Asher Lack, and he writes and is the lead singer of this group of 5 miscreants, and they are mutants. And they've got 2 albums that they've done, and they're working on the 3rd. He's writing the 3rd, and they're quite popular in Europe. He's done 2 or 3 tours of Europe, 30 cities in 40 days or something like that, really gangbuster tours.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for the next album or EP or whatever the hell it is these days. So many industries have become diluted. The film industry is a disaster.
Yeah.
So, did I say the music industry?
You said the.
You said movie.
Yeah, I meant the music industry. Good. I'm glad I'm not hallucinating. I might make mistakes, but at least I can see that I'm making them from the other room where I'm watching myself do this little podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
So, I like to talk in voices. I like to clown around. And I got to tell you, the planet has gotten awfully conservative, although I'm sure there's places where I could play and they would let me splash in the big pool.
Mm-hmm.
But getting to do anything, everybody is looking for a specialist, And, I mean, it's like, excuse me, I'm Sherlock Holmes. What do you mean I can't work on this case because I only investigate crimes that have to do with the makings of certain brands of paper? Because I used that once? Now I got to be a paper specialist? They don't recognize me unless I'm using paper to solve crimes? Wrong. So that's it. I like to think of myself as a full-spectrum entertainer at the drop of a hat. And there we are. Unfortunately, I do my best entertaining in elevators when I know that people can't get away.
There was a time.
A plan. I think maybe we should take that up.
Yeah, actually,
we'll
there was.
Harass the people that are in the different hotels we go to.
I'd come up with an idea once when we do horror conventions to do interviews in the elevator. They would just last from one stop to the next. It'd be like just a few seconds, but. Yeah, I'm from New York City. We have long elevator rides.
We can really torture people, and then they're stopping at every floor when different people get on and off.
We could do this at the Prudential.
Yes,
the Prudential's a very big, tall building. We could probably get away with that there.
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
They're not going to be at a horror convention. We could just ask them questions anyway. It'd be even better.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing is the inner dialogue that you say out loud as people get on and off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't think of it now, some of the terrible things I've said in elevators, but I have been terrible.
Anything you could think of, I would love to hear about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you know, repeating a joke that you made on the spur of the moment 10 years later, nah, it doesn't quite cut it.
Fair enough.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
but, yeah, at least I'm starting to learn what doesn't work. Most of what I say doesn't work. My God, do I get the bad looks. Luckily, my wife is out, so she's not listening to me today on this. You know.
We'll send her the podcast.
Yeah. Well, no, we've been good.
Yeah.
I don't
I think
I've
so.
covered any nasty territory.
No.
No, I think it's been fairly tame.
Yeah.
You didn't even
Acceptably
ask me
so.
about Jennifer O'Neill. You were young, she was
True.
young. You were beautiful, she was beautiful.
Mhm.
You were thrown together. Of course, her wardrobe sucked, but so did yours. I mean, what was it like working with Jennifer O'Neill?
Mm.
What was it like working with
Well,
Jennifer?
there was a problem. She had so many fucking guard dogs in her Winnebago, you couldn't get in there. No, she had a nice boyfriend, and she was sweet. The two of them spent a lot of time together until she stabbed him about a year later. And but I wasn't
Sorry for
there.
laughing about that. Yeah.
What?
She stabbed her boyfriend.
Oh, I don't know. You'll have to check the record for that.
All right. All right. Let's Google that.
I don't know. I think there was some kind of an incident where there was an accident with a kitchen knife. I think they were just working on some potatoes together.
Mm.
You
Very
know?
interesting.
I'm thinking of French fries tonight. Do you want to run some potatoes with me?
That's the line I'm going to use. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Potato
then throw
making.
in the music, the ooh, ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, you know, the cat reaming music.
You did bring up a horror movie you did like that was out recently, but even not horror related. What are some of the films that are your favorites?
Well, that's a terrible thing about the whole entertainment industry, and what I was going to say earlier is the saturation. We've got so much that we've already been exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I know I love the movie Third Person. I saw it about a month ago or whatever in Manhattan. I saw it by myself. I just popped in the theater and saw it. I saw it on the marquee where I was getting gas yesterday in Saratoga. And I couldn't remember what the movie's about. But I remembered that I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was terrific. I can't remember what it was about. So many things have bumped it out of the already overflowing vessel. I walked into a bookstore today. It was crammed with books. I couldn't buy a book. I could only look at the titles and was happy that they were there. But I've got, I don't know how many bookshelves, but many, many, many bookshelves. So the difference between that wealth of the 70s was that wealth was coupled with youthful energy and curiosity. So you had an education. You were exposing yourself to new stuff, but you were filling an empty bag with it.
Yeah.
Now you've been lugging the friggin' leaking bag around with you for the last 30 years, and somebody's offering you something new. I mean, I don't even have a smartphone. I mean, there's things that I'm grossly out of touch with, and the rest of the world has learned to have a pre-seed experience, i.e. an abbreviated experience, so they can have room for it all. And other people who have had older experiences are saying, oh my God, they're only capable of 144 characters, So who's going to win? I don't know. Whoever wins, they're not going to be alone. There will be people that have their fingers on history and will be flipping through hard copies of information sources. But the rest of the world will be on the E channel. consciousness is the way it goes. And making a painting, making a single image that is imbued with time, layer upon layer, this is a unique experience. If you go into your average young person, i.e. under the age of 35, into their world, they don't have single images on the wall anymore. They're not even like a bunch of greasers with posters. Well, maybe your crowd, but, people, they've either got a screen in front of them or in their pocket or whatever. I just watched something. It was amazing. It was Sprint. Was using one of my son's band members and some other people with some guy, Farrell, I think was his name, some rap artist.
The happy song? Oh, my God.
I don't know what the fucking song was.
Yeah.
But it was going to be a big technological breakthrough, and they were all talking about the grid and the matrix and syncing it up and in time and blah, blah, blah. And they made it sound like, wait till you see this performance. It is only Sprint would take a chance on this technology. And what was it? A freaking discotheque where everybody held up their phones in the darkness and the phones blinked light. I mean, you could get with a Bic lighter.
Yeah, that Bic lighter is gone. They actually have, for your phone, you could hold up, it's an app. So what it has is an animated picture of a lighter that you hold up at a concert.
Well, that's
it's
cool.
Sad.
There you go.
It's sad.
It's sad.
Things are very different, even from when Neil and I were young. And
minutes ago.
yeah, it's things are different. You know, it's funny. You're talking about this technology stuff. I heard that Amazon.com is going to start using what are they called? Those
drones.
Drones to deliver packages.
Oh yeah, to deliver. Yeah, they floated that by.
That's crazy.
They're going to use drones.
Yeah.
Please. They're going to be using drones. I want to know when people are going to be using drones for sex. I just flew a drone up my girlfriend's ass. It had an ass cam, and it was a beautiful thing. And she has a groan app. So she pushes a button and she makes noises right out of the Kama Sutra. Well, you can choose the Kama Sutra, or you could make noises out of, here's one, Friday the 13th. You can make squishy noises from Dexter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Are you there?
Yes.
Oh, I thought I lost you.
No,
finally.
I was just saying, I'll send you some links after the show. And
what? Oh, you got lost after Ass App.
I'm totally
Ass Cam.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just imagining the possibilities. It is pretty curious. I think then it was just laughter. But no, it is interesting because it said as something funny, but things have changed a lot, even in the past 10 years, and then imagining what it will be like in the next 10 years after that. Mm-hmm. I will not be surprised at all about ASCAN.
Well, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it hits a peak, and just like the automobile, everybody thinks it's going to go on forever, and we're going to have a new form of automobile and a new form of this and a new form of that. And chances are we will, but there's always the possibility that we will go back to walking.
That's what we do.
Get thee on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did want to ask something. You said about art and taking time with art and everything. Have you ever worked with stone? Because in a few weeks we'll be doing stone carving.
Yeah, actually. 1966. I was studying at McGill. God, I'm dating myself. 1966. And I took summer courses at Columbia University. Mm-hmm. And they were in sculpture. And they were stone carving. And guess who? I'm pretty sure, I never met him afterwards, but there was this guy, Paul, from Minnesota, or from the Midwest somewhere. And he was a surly little fellow with decent muscles, and he had a bit of a lisp, and he had a lot of attitude. Everything sucked, and he was taking film. I lent him my Aftermath by the Rolling Stones to lay down his student film track, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there I was studying sculpture. I think that guy, Paul, from an interview I've heard him give, was Paul Schrader.
Uh-huh. Very cool. Road taxi driver.
Yeah.
Nice.
Amongst other things, that directed
Really?
2 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
he was studying
big fan
film,
of
and I
Paul
was
Schrader.
studying stone carving. Was I out of touch?
That's wild.
Incredible.
I'm a big fan of his work.
What's that?
I'm a big fan of Paul Schrader's work. That's
Well,
pretty
there you go. So connect with him and ask him whether he went to Columbia in the summer of '66.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to find out about that.
Yeah.
We actually have talked about trying to get him. That would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I tried to write to him once, but I gave up. You know, I think somebody gave me an agent or something, and I don't think it rang any bells.
Yeah.
So I'll let that go.
Yeah. From my experience, it's much easier if you can ever contact someone directly and not go through agents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're usually only worried about how much money they're going to get out of it.
Yeah, or you're going to hit them up for.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right. Yes.
They're more worried about what they're going to lose than what they're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, who knows?
Yeah. Just from personal experience, real quick. I've talked to people who totally cool want to come on the show, talk, and they're like, set it up with my agent or whoever it is, or publicist, and then it's usually no interest after that. So,
Wait. Say that again?
I'll talk to someone directly, like a potential guest, and they'll totally want to come on and talk about a movie they did or whatever, and they'll say, just set it up with my agent or my publicist, and then from there, usually that's just the end of it. Because
the dead zone.
Yeah. Because we don't pay anybody to come on or anything, so it's just usually the agent themselves will have no interest, even though
I don't have an agent.
Yeah,
so that's why I'm so easy.
Even though if the person themselves are totally interested in it, it's weird.
Well, welcome to show business. You'll never know who's really interested anyway.
That's very true too. It could be just, hey, yeah, set up with them, and so they look like the bad guy, not those themselves. So
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, in a few weeks we will be doing some stone carving, so we're looking forward to that. We did it last year.
Wait, you're going to do stone carving?
Yes.
Yeah, we went last year. It's funny. There's a guy named Kevin Van Hentenryck, and he was in a series of films, Basket Case. And he is now in the Catskills, and he runs a seminar every summer. It's a free open course to go out to, I think it's Hunter, New York. You're in New York, so you might know where Hunter is.
Yeah.
You know the Catskills are anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he has all the equipment, and you just go there and carve stone. It's completely free.
Wow.
We went there last year, and it was fantastic. Yeah, it's amazing. He runs it for 3 weeks. And it's like, business hours. Well, no, it's usually morning until it gets dark. Mm-hmm. And he just has all the stuff, drills, and I have protective gear.
Uh-huh.
And
you bring your own stone?
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of large stones there where people will, where all different sculptures will be. So all different, artists will put their, or, even if you're just a total novice. But then you can also go out and find your own stone in like the woods area there and carve it, then actually bring that home. Actually, the large ones obviously can't bring home. They're just there permanently. But the small ones, if you carve, you can bring home with you. It's very cool.
Well, I'll give you I don't know whether it's worth anything or not, but I was in the Inwood section of Manhattan, and they were excavating a foundation for a building on 207th and Broadway, and it was all white marble.
Wow.
Huge, giant chunks of white marble. And I called one of the sculpture houses, and they must have thought I was nuts, saying, get a truck over here. I mean, this is product. But who knows?
It's been a lot of fun talking to you. It's been very interesting.
Okay, well, let's see. What should I be plugging? I have about 15 paintings up at the Dorian Gray Gallery on East 9th Street in Manhattan. That'll be up until, I guess, August 3rd or August 5th, something like that. So if we can interlap with that, fine. Otherwise, check me out, and you'll find me on Facebook.
Yeah.
If we were able to stop through there on our trip to see Kevin, would you like us to get some pictures and do a little video talking about them? Because we video document our travels.
Oh, sure.
Excellent.
That would be sweet.
Excellent.
Nice.
Go by the gallery, yeah. I mean, I didn't talk about any of the projects that I'm having or that are in the works, because I don't. But, yeah, that would be nice.
All right. Because I think we both would like to stop through New York City, and so that would be something nice to do.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's in the East Village. I mean, that's where it all began for a lot of people, Ginsberg and Kerouac and me and the painting crowd. I had a studio right across the street in a railroad apartment. My wife and I lived in 3 different places at once. Oh, were we wild. And there you go.
Yeah.
So they were good times. And, it's in between First Avenue and Avenue A on the north side of the street. The paintings are tame. I think they want to give me a one-person show, which will be a real tour of Lackland. I think that's their intention. That is possibly going to come up this fall. I don't know. I'm supposed to have a show in Zurich and the show out in Fort Wayne. So I'm busy anyway. But we can always do one more show.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll talk.
All right. It sounds great.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. It was very cool to have you on the show. Had a good time.
Oh, it was fun.
Cool.
Well, it was talking about me. What could be better?
Right.
It seems to work for people who come on.
Uh-huh.
I bet. I bet it does. Okay. Good talking.
Yeah, you too.
Absolutely. Great talking with you. Thanks so much.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Henry Hill from the movie Goodfellas, and I'm on the show Without Your Head.